Hey, I'm Justin.
This is Chaz.
Join us as we look back together, but learn to stay present.
Come with us as we rise up with hope on the horizon.
This is the podcast of extraordinary millennial gentlemen.
My wife has kind of taught me over the past years, and the whole dad piece of this is, and then relating it to myself, and what I hear you're saying as well, Charlie, is we need people, and this is hard for, I think, most guys, and maybe stereotyping a bit, to admit like what emotions we're having, and that we need to have them, and not for our emotions to be banished or set aside or ignored, or because that's often kind of what we're doing. Like we focus on the problem and not just saying, oh yeah, you're sad, that's tough, and that's it. We're not jumping to the next steps. Here's how you can get over those emotions, because that banishes them, that sets them aside, saying they're not important or you shouldn't feel these things. Yep. Instead of saying, you're feeling those are real, and emotions are never wrong. There's no right or wrong to emotions. You just have to experience them and kind of be in the moment of them. And whether that's with the children and trying to teach them, or yourself getting through something. And that's where it circles back to me, as you guys were saying that I think was what I did through that really hard time. Like I remember, I wasn't as upfront. I'm in another country speaking a different language most days at work. And I'm not outward in expressing or sharing emotions often in those areas. So I wasn't like, yeah, hey, I just had two really close people to me die. I didn't tell anybody. Like, unless they read my one post or something on social media that I only ever did on that, then they're like, yeah, how you doing? I'm like, I'm fine. Don't talk to me about it. I don't, I just brushed them off, because I needed to process. And my personality type is more like, I need to process it. And then like weeks later, look back on how I processed that. And then it makes sense for me. That's how I kind of got through that. But the other piece of it that you brought up, Charlie, for me too, that really stood out through those emotions and things. Like I just kept living my life. But a big part of that was my faith, and continuing to go to those sources that help me feel that and put things in the right perspective. So maybe I didn't have, this gift or this book from someone else, or other people telling, me, or trying to solve my problem. But it was just, these are the things I believe and know to be true. There's a bigger perspective. There's a bigger story that we believe. Yeah. And, and honestly, if I didn't believe that there's life after death and we get to see him again and have our family and friends again and all that, down the road, I probably would have been much, much harder. But it was kind of, and not that those topics were brought up during that time, but just to know that and feel that and have that kind of support system, even though I wasn't directly supported. That to me is how I got through it and process it in my own way. And I'm sure I could have done better. Yes, my wife, she was there. Maybe not so great, but I think that's a key thing, I think, between what you're both saying and what I experienced.
For me, I had a lot of people go, oh, you're going to totally empathize with everybody else that's lost parents or that will lose parents, and you'll be able to know what to say to them. And I knew right away that was never going to happen. Mm-hmm. Just because I lost a parent didn't mean I would know what that person's going through. Because I process it a lot differently. I tell people, I got to talk. I got to get it out that way. It sounds like, Chaz, well, maybe you didn't have people to talk to, but that was you. Like, I got to process this for me first, and then I could kind of talk to somebody. And so what I have to say isn't always going to be the best thing. And so what I try to learn, or what I've tried to practice, is just, hey, I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Be present.
The door's open.
Available, present. Yeah.
Relationships.
And there's not any baggage or requirements attached to that, right?
Yeah.
Charlie?
No expectations.
Right. It's like, this is it. I'm available. If you need something, I hate even using the word something, right?
Right.
It's like, hey, I'm here. We can always talk, and leave it at that. Something that sticks out to me, Chaz, about what you're saying, about your experience and from our conversation. I think I have a I have an abstract, very simplified kind of definition of hope that's kind of running around in my head. And that's just a source of hope is just anything, just knowing that there's something bigger than you. And I don't mean that in the religious sense. I don't mean that through religion. I mean, you could have hope in the person that you can become in the future. And that can be bigger, better, brighter, right?
Yeah.
And that is the opposite of kind of fatalism and nihilism and the things that are just like, nope, you're going to die. You think you can do this? No, you can't. And everybody kind of has this tyrant and this voice within them.
Mm-hmm.
I hate it, but it's there, right? I think the people who are most successful in life are not free of suffering. Quite the opposite. But they have a means not just to cope, but to thrive. And I think from both of you guys, I'm gleaning that can fast track for some people to look outside of themselves. That could be service. That could be being present and just trying to be that person that offers yourself to somebody for what they're going through, because everybody's going through something.
Yeah. This is a little tangent on the same note, but maybe a little bit more positive.
Ooh, yeah. Okay. Bring us back up into the sunlight, please.
No, when I was younger, I would make friends based on this person's cool. I'm not going to be friends with that person. They're weird.
Yeah.
And stuff. And as I've gone older, I've realized like, man, I've missed out on some good times. Cause like that guy that was weird, he's really funny. And I don't have to be that. I don't have to imitate that.
Yeah.
But I would have had a better time if I had gotten to know that person. And so that's, as an adult, that's my try not to judge a book by its cover. Because you're missing out on opportunities where you're going to learn, where you're going to have a good time. There's jokes that are said around the office, and me and that one assistant will laugh about something similar because it's like, we know. Like we've got, it's an inside joke all of a sudden kind of thing. And you miss on opportunities if you're just going to pass on somebody. Like that person's not worth my time. Sometimes that's probably a valid thing. That person's not worth your time. But that doesn't mean to a lot of people, you should just try. Just try to be worth somebody's time.
So positive. I love it, actually.
For me, it don't need to dive into this, but it makes me think of like a growth mindset, right? This positive growth. There's always improvement. There's, versus like a scarcity mentality where it's like, everything's finite. I don't have enough, kind of what you're both saying here.
Get what you can from others, right?
Yep.
Find out what people can provide to you. And I don't mean monetarily, emotionally. I mean, my goodness. In the culture we're in, I can feel that, Chaz. I definitely know what you're saying. But I'm going to let you keep saying it. Sorry.
No, I think that's great. The only other thought that came to me, and then we can each have, our last 30-second wrap up here, is I can't remember who told me or who said this. They were quoting someone else, but like whenever it was kind of the idea, like whenever you go to a gas station, like, and anybody you meet, you can always learn something from someone, like one thing easily, whoever they are. And if you're picking those things up, or at least seeing people through that perspective, which is similar, not exactly what you're saying here, but I think, that just kind of rang true as well for me of, spend these times in these relationships, be present. And that's not only going to change you, potentially them, but just get you through a bunch of these things, right? Like we're kind of all in this together mentality. So, all right. Charlie, then what's your last takes, last words? Advice, anything? This is random, but don't take yourself too seriously. Like laugh at yourself, laugh at somebody else, laugh with them, not at them, but just enjoy it, because we're all working towards something. I think at the end of the day, it's probably all the same thing.
but we all have a different view of how we're going to get there, and we're all traveling at different speeds. So you just pat somebody on the back and you keep moving.
Yep. Great. Justin?
Man, there's nothing to top in the conversation by any means. Just like usual conversations we've had about things that are important. I just feel the need to change a lot of things in my life, and the things that come to mind.
Change a lot of things.
No kidding.
I second.
Okay.
I've wanting you to know that for a while.
Well, thank you. I knew this was an intervention. This podcast is really just the Justin intervention. And I'm going to be that guy in the corner going, nope. All right. No, I really don't have anything else to share other than there's opportunity for change, opportunity to change now. And something that's been on my mind a lot and is what's crystallized in my mind, guys, and super clear from our conversation tonight, and just some little inklings I've had over the last couple of weeks is everybody's listening, the three of us especially, have the opportunity to support one another and be a contributor to life. It's far too easy. The easier path is to take. It genuinely is. It's far more important to give of yourself and to contribute. And I'm not putting it under a specific area of life, but be a contributor. And in that way, you'll actually find the depth and a capacity you didn't think you have. And so I've got that invitation to myself. I'm acknowledging it. Got two accountable people who can now be like, so are you giving or taking? Are you stealing from others? Or are you, genuinely trying to provide? And that's my theme tonight. That's my takeaway. That's what I got.
Hey, thanks for spending some time with us today. Hope you find hope and joy throughout this upcoming week. If you've liked this podcast, please hit the subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, and we'll see you next week.
I ate my grandma.